Hello, everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. IWD 2025. Sport shooting trailblazer Ruth Mwandumba on competing while pregnant with twins and improving diversity in her beloved sport. Britain's Mwandumba will be competing at the European Championships while 6 months pregnant with twins, which has been quite the learning curve, as she told Olympics.com in an exclusive interview. There will be 3 heartbeats in this one body when I compete at the European Championships, said sport shooting athlete Ruth Mwandumba of the fact she'll be 6 months pregnant with twins when she competes at the ASIAC-hosted Continental Championships from the 7th and the 13th of March 2025. The Liverpudlian, who has dual British-Malawian citizenship, competes in the Olympic discipline of 10-meter air rifle and was selected in January for her 3rd year on the British Shooting World Class program, with a podium at the LA 2028 Games the aim. It's a completely new experience for me, and also for a lot of people on my support team, said the 29-year-old in an exclusive interview with Olympics.com before heading to the championships in Croatia and being published for International Women's Day on March 8th. A lot of my coaches haven't had to deal with a pregnant athlete being on the squad before, so I think, for all of us, there's been a lot of learning and just trying to navigate it. It has been tough at times, admits the master's graduate in international public health who only took up the sport seriously after joining a shooting club at university, but I've also been enjoying it as well. Ongoing nausea, even into her 2nd trimester, has meant that training sessions fluctuate around how she feels both physically and mentally, with coaches keenly aware of the need for Mwandumba to feel her way through this new process. I definitely have been struggling a lot with motivation, the 2-time English champion told us, and it's been really frustrating for me because I'm definitely somebody who, when I do something, I want to be the best and I want to push myself as hard as I can. So physically, I'm now in a position where I can't always do that. I've also been having that mental battle of trying to remind myself to not be too hard on myself. I am growing 2 small humans as well as being an athlete, and I will get days where physically I can't train. We set training session plans, however. My coaches have been very vocal in the fact that if I don't feel up to it, just don't go. And I think that's really helped, because I think one of the things I would have struggled with is if on a day I feel like I can't go and I'm not motivated, I know for a fact I'd be feeling really guilty and I'd be probably feeling like I've let my coaches down. So I think to have that encouragement and that backing has been really helpful as well. Pregnant athletes at Olympic Games Paris 2024. Another big learning curve has been around adapting the specialized kit shooters wear, a stiff material, made to measure, that helps shooters minimize movement. The suit isn't made to measure for my growing body, reveals Mwandumba. I have been lucky enough to work with some local tailors, and we have been adding extenders onto both my jacket and my trousers, and it's been working well for me. But that's definitely been my biggest challenge, trying to squeeze into my suit when my bump doesn't allow me to do so. At the time of talking, Mwandumba has yet to feel the baby start moving. Nevertheless, in a sport that requires such stillness to succeed, how is she visualizing competing while too many humans could potentially decide to thrash about at any inopportune moment? I'm hoping that they start kicking soon so that I can train and get used to that feeling, and it's not a shock if it happens the first time at the Europeans, said Mwandumba. But that being said, even if there is kicking and that kind of distraction, a lot of the mental training that we do as athletes is learning to block out distraction, and I guess in my case, it would be shoot through it. Talk about ultimate focus. Increasing numbers of pregnant women are competing at elite level in sport, including at Paris 2024. So what has Mwandumba learned from the likes of Egyptian fencer Nada Hafez, who revealed she was 7 months pregnant while competing in France, and Azerbaijan archer Yelagul Ramazanova, who secured a direct hit of 10 points just as her baby kicked? I didn't know that I was going to get pregnant and didn't know that that was going to be my next chapter, said Mwandumba, but I think it's really encouraging to see other mums doing it. There were a few pregnant athletes at Paris, but then also those who had recently just given birth as well, and so I think just being able to see that, it was the encouragement that I needed, that if that were to ever happen to me, there are female athletes proving that you can still go on to be the best in your sport. I think for all female athletes, just being able to see that and just highlighting the fact that pregnancy within sports does not necessarily mean retirement. It just means a new chapter, inadvertent role model making a difference. As well as stumbling into being a pioneer for pregnant women continuing to compete in elite sport, by virtue of being the sole black athlete in the British shooting program, Mwandumba has inadvertently, but happily, become a role model for other people from ethnic minorities wanting to try her beloved sport. It wasn't something I initially set out to do, and I did just kind of fall into it, she told us, before revealing she has joined forces with the national governing body to try and increase the diversity in the sport in a project called Target Change after realizing only 0.5% of British competitive shooters were black. I started having small conversations about it quite early on because obviously it was apparent to me that it wasn't a very diverse sport, and then the conversations just kind of grew bigger and bigger. And then, before I knew it, I was kind of the face and ambassador for this new initiative that we were launching with British shooting, which I was completely happy to do because a huge part of it was my idea. One part of the initiative that gained traction was a heartfelt poem penned by Mwandumba about diversity in sport shooting, or lack thereof. Initially written in the comfort of her own home and never meant to see the light of day, let alone end up featuring on the news. A portion of the poem that Mwandumba agreed could be used as part of the campaign reads, "There are people who look like me, and then there are people who look like you. And we may look different, but within this sport we're all the same in what we do." Which is one of the reasons why I love it, and my passion for the sport grew. And when I said I want to become champion, this community said, "It could be you." And true to that word, 7 months later the champion of England I became. My dreams were met, and the first thing I said, I want others to be able to do the same. The positive response to something so personal surprised and pleased Mwandumba. I quite like writing poems as a side hobby, but no one ever sees or hears them, and so it was just something that I'd taken the time to write my thoughts down, and all of a sudden, to see it on like BBC News, my mind was blown because all I could think about was me at home writing that on my sofa and being like really vulnerable in that moment. Please subscribe the channel, share this with a friend, thank you.